know your rights. It's time now for Legal Point. Now your host, Carrie Kasem.
Welcome to Legal Point. Like the man said, I'm Carrie Kasem. Today, I have elder law attorney Dennis Toman. He's the founder of the ElderLaw Firm in Greensboro, North Carolina. Dennis currently serves on board of directors of the North Carolina chapter of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. Thank you, Dennis, for being on the show today.
Well, it's wonderful to be here.
Types of care and levels that you can receive. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so many people assume that if they're leaving the home that they're going to have to go into a nursing home. And in fact, there are different levels of care. There's independent retirement living, which is basically no care, just another place to live. Many times that'll be part of a continuing care retirement community where they do have all these different levels of care on a single campus.
Like senior living?
It's senior living,
Okay.
and then a continuing care retirement community is generally going to be a place that requires an upfront fee to perhaps start the senior living at independent living, and then they also have available on the same campus assisted living, memory care, and nursing home care. As the care needs increase, the costs will go up as well. And there's an important distinction to draw between assisted living and nursing homes. Assisted living can actually be a very attractive lifestyle. People choose to go to assisted living. There's nice people there, there's good food, there's outings, there's lots that a person can enjoy. A nursing home, not so much. There's needed level of care there, of course, but nobody ever woke up in the morning and said, oh boy, today's the day I get to go to a nursing home.
Right.
And so there are wonderful people who staff these nursing homes. There is no perfect nursing home. So much of the care that is given in the nursing home depends on having someone, most likely a family member or members, visiting and advocating for that resident on a regular basis.
And I've spent a lot of time in nursing homes, and just recently my grandma passed away, 93 years old, and she up until 4 months before she died was working, driving, living on her own, everything. She said, I never will go to a nursing home. I will never be, I'm just going to, she always said, I'm going to just drop dead like my parents, just a heart attack, and it's going to take me. It didn't quite happen that way, but it went pretty fast. And the 4 months that I saw her in there was never not somebody that wasn't there with her. Like every day somebody visited her, every day. But I realized too that her roommate didn't get one visitor, nothing. There was nothing and nobody there. And I realized too, going through what I did and being blocked from seeing my father, you can stick somebody in a nursing home. And now you can't because of what nursing home reform, but you can say, no visitors. I don't want this person to have any visitors. And that's it. They live the rest of their lives alone. And it's a shame, but in California here, and I think that it's passed in some states, but it's if you're in a nursing home or hospital and you say you want visitors, or you have said that and it's been heard, they have to allow visitors. If you're in someone's home, you can be trespassed. If you're in someone's home, they can call the police on you and have you escorted out. So this is very important too, for that power of attorney, to make sure it's somebody that you know, that you trust. If you've given somebody the power of attorney, please make sure it is somebody you trust, somebody that will let your kids see you, somebody that will let your friends see you, or do what you want. Maybe you don't want to see your friends when you're very sick. That's okay too, but let it be known, and please give your power of attorney to one or two people, maybe three, like my dad did, that you trust. It's so important. You do a lot of work for the veterans. At least I know that you are on some committees for veterans, and you've done a lot. Let's talk about veterans benefits, because I feel in this country that we don't do enough. We don't do enough, and the system is broken.
Well, there is an important veterans benefit to help pay for some care at home or care in assisted living or a nursing home. And that particular benefit is one that's called Veterans Aid and Attendance. Sometimes it's called pension. Sometimes it's called a non-service connected disability. This program is one that's available for any veteran who served at least 90 days of active duty And one of those days had to be during a wartime period. They didn't have to be overseas. They didn't have to be in a combat zone. They just had to have that 1 day of active duty, 90 days altogether. And in that situation, a veteran who is over age 65 is starting to incur some significant out-of-pocket medical expenses, then based on their income and their assets, there could be a VA benefit that for a married veteran could be as much as over $2,000 a month.
Wow.
And for a single veteran, about $1,700 a month. And even for the surviving spouse of a deceased wartime veteran, over $1,100 a month. And those are 2015 numbers, of course, and they tend to go up. Unfortunately, they're not going up in 2016, right. I just heard.
But now I heard, and I know that people think, oh, you know what, we're going to keep the loved one in the house. It's going to be cheaper. And not necessarily. Not necessarily is it cheaper to have someone come to your house and take care of your, whether it's, they need 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. It's a lot of money to have somebody come to your house.
It is, but the way that I encourage my clients to think about that quite often is that, yes, if you're going to pay for caregivers in our area in North Carolina, it'll often cost somewhere between $17 and $23 an hour. And so that becomes very affordable if we're talking about a little bit of care. If we're talking about a few hours, a few days a week, increasing somewhat, that's affordable. And that's certainly worth paying to keep the person at home because that's actually cheaper than
that's
it would
cheaper,
be.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But if we're talking about around-the-clock care, 24/7 care, that's easily into $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and not many people can afford that for long, especially if they didn't have the opportunity to plan with some long-term care coverage earlier in their life when they were healthy and able to do so.